So before I start, I meant to say, keep just messing with me, and that's funny because what I was getting ready to say had to do with the interpreters. That's funny, you can get out of my mind. So a couple of weeks ago, when Raymont was up here and Tracy said that she wasn't in camera angle or camera range or something, and I reached over and I pulled her over. So technically in the interpreting realm of stuff, that was inappropriate. But because I was an interpreter for 30 years and because we're all like family, it was that. But know that professionally with interpreters, that's a, I just needed to put that out there because I know some folks watching the video are like,
You gotta follow the rules, Ray.
It's been a wonderful time serving with you all. I pray that your next minister is as funny. Don't play with me. Okay, so we ready for today?
Yes.
Okay, now you said this. However, we're going to talk about something that's not that it's a tough topic, but it's sort of kind of a tough topic, right? So the vision for the month is specifically the monthly theme is compassion, but the title that was placed out for today was Compassion is Love Indeed, right? And I sort of tweaked it a little bit and said, love is a verb called compassion. So if I ask you, because it's the teacher in me, give me a couple of words, phrases, whatever it is, what is compassion to you?
Empathy.
Say again louder.
Empathy.
Empathy.
Loving kindness.
Loving kindness. Two more?
Care.
Care. One more?
Understanding.
Understanding. Great. One of the things, and I'm glad Queenie started off with empathy, because one of the things in the dictionary, it says compassion. Sympathetic. Pity. And concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others.
What dictionary are you reading?
What's that?
What dictionary is that?
Inspirational porn.
No, dictionary, online dictionary. Synonyms: pity, sympathy. But then it gets into empathy, understanding, care, concern, sensitivity, tenderheartedness, gentleness, kindness, humanity, humaneness. Okay? So if that's what compassion is, what does it look like? Like, we know the words, we got the words. But what does it look like when it's being lived, when it's being expressed? Because it's great when we talk about these things and we're intellectualizing them. We're bringing them from some for the cranium, postulating, this is therefore what, blah, 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 blah. We can't live spirituality if we're only talking concepts and nonsensical platitudes. We can't throw out truth if we're throwing out, God is all there is. But I'm trying to tell you that, like, my grandson just tried to kill himself. But God knows all that it... You need to leave me alone. Right? But we do this. And sometimes we do it because we're not comfortable with, I don't know what to say, so I'm going to have a fortune cookie quote right there. And we'll throw it out there. That doesn't do anybody any good. It might ease your level of comfort or awkwardness, but it doesn't demonstrate compassion. So for you, once again, can you give me just a couple of examples for you? And understand that because each of us has very different individualized fingerprints, we're all different. So how one expresses compassion versus another is fine. What does compassion look like?
I think it's when I go out of my comfort zone to provide comfort to somebody else.
Okay?
Somebody being with you just to listen.
Two more?
Providing food for the person outside the grocery store.
One more.
Somebody to fight for somebody else, they really need something, and somebody steps in and fights for it.
One, recognizing that your worldview is just yours and really being able to get into someone else's world and see it from their point of view. For me, compassion is really that listening over there and giving up your projections and what you think to be in another person's world.
And thank you all for that. And I want to sort of piggyback off of what Dr. Ronnie just said, because one of the phrases that sort of came up on the minister's listserv was this idea of caring for the poor. Caring for the poor. Now understand that what we deal with is consciousness. And if we are consciously affirming poor, now we can talk about those who do not have food, those who do not have homes. We can talk about the condition, but when we say those who are poor, we're talking about them. And that's a completely different consciousness. Because see, when we're doing that, it's not possible for us to step into someone else's frame of living to be able to listen or care or serve or stand up for. We have no interest in doing any of that. Because when we're outside of their sphere, it's I, me, mine, mine, mine. I'm giving this person food because it makes me feel good. I'm listening to you because I want you to come to me with all of the good stuff, and you're not going to bring that to me if I'm not listening. So let me listen while already formulating what I think about what you're saying. Let me stand in and defend simply so I can look like the hero of the less fortunate. Let me take care of and show concern for this person so that they and others see me and exalt me onto this pedestal of, wow, he's so good. Wow. He must just, I wish I could be like that. If we're doing that for that reason, it's the opposite of compassion. So in order to truly be compassionate, we got to do a whole lot of self-analysis going within, because to do what Dr. Ronnie said, to do what anybody here said, to do anything that is compassion, we have to be vulnerable. And we don't like that word. Because the moment, you remember a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned the New York subway attack of the woman who was in her late 70s or 80s, and the guy commenced to kicking her on the train? You remember when I mentioned that?
Yep.
Some of you remember. Okay. There was this viral video that went around where this guy, for who knows what reason, saw this woman sitting on the train by herself, and he just goes up and he starts kicking her, hitting her and kicking her. And people are pulling out cell phones. But no one stepped in to stop it. Because see, the moment I step in, well, they might turn their attack on me. The moment I offer to be listened, the moment I offer to listen, the person may say, I don't need you. The moment I offer to give someone food, what do you think I need? I don't need your handout. I'm sorry. We might get rejected. Does that mean we don't serve? We don't risk anyway? Because if we're going to truly be compassionate, if we're going to act based upon compassion, then we have to be willing. No greater love than this, than one would lay down their lives for. Now, we may not be talking in this moment about truly laying down our lives as in being willing to die, but are we willing to let the ego in that moment die to step in? Are we willing to take whatever those preconceived ideas and notions are about somebody, something, somewhere? Are we willing to let that idea die so that love can come forth? Because if we're not, and it's easy to say, I am, till it happens. It's easy to say we are willing, but for real, if I'm willing to let that go for another while holding self-hatred, while not loving myself, not seeing myself as worthy, not seeing myself as powerful, not standing in my authenticity, not being transparent. If I'm not able to do that, then am I really, really, really able to truly be present to be able to offer any of this to anyone else? Any of this. Warmth, love, tenderness, care and nurturing, understanding, empathy that says, I am giving the space to feel what I feel while you feel what you feel. Sympathy says, I want to feel bad too. Or I have to feel bad with you. Misery loves company. See, Ernest Holmes says, humanity and divinity will be identical when we recognize divinity in humanity. Now, technically, I could stop there. Humanity and divinity will be identical when we recognize divinity in humanity. Now, the thing is, it already is, right? There is no separation. But what he's saying is, the recognition of it is an extremely important piece. Because if you don't recognize yourself as an amazing musical artist, will you ever sing a song? If you don't acknowledge and recognize yourself as an amazing educator, do you ever do a TED Talk? If you don't recognize yourself as an amazing interpreter, do you ever take the position to do? If you don't recognize that which you are and the greatness that you are, do you ever step forward to demonstrate it? No. You always play like you are hand-me-downs. You are never going to be able to wear the royal robes of I am that I am. It's always going to be this old tattered belief system, this old worn out paradigm, this old consciousness from my great, 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 great somebody who handed it down that you're just like your father, you're just like your mother, you're no good, Remember that line in The Color Purple where they're at the dinner table and all heck breaks loose. And Mr. yells out at Celie, you're black, you're poor, you're a woman. You're nothing at all. How many of us carry some from somewhere, something, some idea that someone planted seeds in the garden of our minds and we let it take root? But if we're going to get to this thing that Holmes is talking about, humanity and divinity will be identical when we recognize divinity in humanity. We must learn to see through the apparent, to judge not according to appearances, to realize that at the center of every person's soul, God is enthroned. Compassion and caring are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding and in the unified attempt to uncover the divinity in each other. Compassion is the most gentle of all human virtues, for it is the outpouring of the divine givingness through all. When the members of a community love one another, that community is solid, prosperous, and happy. Nations are bound together by common interests and common affections. When the whole world realizes this truth, it will unite in thought and in action. Love alone can solve the world's problems and bring about the day of universal peace. Are you willing, or are we willing, to lay down any obstacles to love and compassion, to be able to step forward and walk this walk, to be able to listen and empathize and stand up for and serve and be caring in whatever forms it shows up in. So you know how we started with me asking you, give me some words or examples of what compassion is?
Empathy.
I mean, did you forget? Remember when I asked? Okay. Because I'm going to ask another question. I need you to have remembered that. But if you already forgot that, then hello and welcome to CSL. I feel like we need to start from scratch. Now I want to ask you, what are some of the obstacles to compassionate living? Fear. Judgment. Vulnerability. Anger. Rejection. Unwillingness. Jealousy. One more.
Hate.
Pain and hurt. Now, isn't it funny that I started off asking for examples of compassion, and like some of y'all were searching, like, when I asked for the blocks, it was like, well, here's the list. Like, we can rattle off those. Why? Because they're right here. We live them daily. I've seen the enemy, and the enemy is us. It's right here. And see, what we do is just push it off to the side a little bit. Because if my blinders are here, I can see forward, but I can ignore what's to the left and right of me. So we simply just push them off to the side. But they're still there. It's in the periphery. And when something calls it forth, jealousy, anger, fear, unwillingness, when something triggers it, then it's like, oh man, now I can't. Oh, there you are. But it's right there. We have become so comfortable and indoctrinated by the thing we don't like the most. And someone could, postulate and say, well, is that because that's what we're worshiping? That's what we believe in more? We believe in the fear, the pain, the anger, the jealousy. We believe in it more. How many of you have heard the story about the young Native American, indigenous American young man who goes to his grandfather, and grandfather tells him the story about the two wolves, and it gets to the point, well, which wolf will win? And the grandfather says,
The one you feed.
the one you feed. Are we feeding our fears, our jealousies, our resentments, our unwillingnesses? Are we feeding our insecurities and our self-hatred? Are we feeding resentment and bitterness? Are we feeding that? And see, we may not think that we are. Because once again, it doesn't come to the forefront of the mind till it comes to the forefront of the mind. But it comes up because it's there. And so what is ours to do is, when it comes up, acknowledge it. Don't run from it. If part of what you have to do is be pissed off to move through it, then be pissed off. But be righteously pissed off. Don't just be, but be righteously pissed off to say, yes, this is not going to happen on my watch. And I'm going to do whatever it is that I need to do in order to change it. And if it means I need to take a class, then I'm taking it. If it means I need to write the senator, then I'm going to do it. If it means I need to sage, then I'm going to buy a sage tree and burn it. I'm going to do whatever it is that is mine to do so that I can move through whatever this is. Because otherwise, we are just going through the motions of spirituality. And we know, so in the Bible, there are four, generally, there's a couple more, but four main references in Greek to what types of love. Right? We have agape, eros, storge, and philia. You know the difference between these? So agape, divine love without condition. Eros, you know this one. Erotica. Don't play like you don't know. I'm trying to get me to change my sermon. Star J. Family love. The way you love family. Philia. Brotherly and sisterly love. The love of community. If we are going to continue to do same old, business as usual, spirituality as spirituality as spirituality, and we're not upgrading, we're not evolving, we're not changing, we're not transforming, we're not transcending, we're not transmogrifying, and I'm sorry, we're not doing any of this stuff, then the type of love we are now practicing comes from that eros area. And it's just for ourselves. And it doesn't procreate. Follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
If we are going to live truly from a spiritual place, a spiritual practice, then it means we have to embody this and be willing to fall and crash and burn. How many are familiar with Brene Brown? So Brene Brown, hands shoot up like Netflix. So there's a thing on Netflix right now where Brene Brown is doing a little Netflix thing, and I posted some clips on my Facebook page or whatnot. And one of the things she says that, if we're going to really live, like we're really going to do this thing, then you have to understand you are going to fail. Not you might. You will fail. And it's a hard pill to swallow. But see, the thing is, we have to be willing. There was nothing at all, really, that said I was ready to take this position. Per se. I mean, I had never been a senior minister before. New stuff, new. Oh my, that's a whole. That's a lot of people. Oh man, and whoa. Can I say no? But I had to be willing to mess up. Because I'm going to. I have. You don't even know what those are. But I have. And I'm going to continue. But it's because I am willing to fall on my face, to rise again, to move forward. Collectively. If we're going to start changing things in this world, and I mean changing things in this world. A couple of weeks ago I posted, Nancy shared it, there was a documentary done about Baltimore City called Charm City. Did anybody see it?
Yes.
Okay. And I got into a conversation with a couple of people after having watched it. And all I kept hearing was, oh, poor. Oh, it's such a shame that, until I told them, shut up. Just shut up. No one needs your pity or your. No one needs that. No one needs that. No one really wants that. But if we can watch and empathize and stand in this place of I am willing to put down all of my defenses, all of my preconceived ideas, all of my hurts, shames, and all of my judgment and prejudices, and all of my, if I can put that down just for 10 seconds. 10 seconds. And be able to see someone and step forward and serve from this place, then things change. But I go to different events and things, and I hear people state the platitudes, and I hear people say stuff, but when I say, so, what are you doing about it? Like one of the things that I spoke to with a couple of folks is, and I know Dr. Ronnie knows this because her daughter goes to Howard, but one of the things, and for those who may not know, Howard University is going through something right now. Because there are people who feel that they have the right to trespass on private property and let their dogs use the bathroom on private property. Right. And I've gotten into conversation with some folks who have said, oh, that's such a shame, and oh, and I say, And I mean black folks and white folks and other. And I say, yes, okay, it's such a shame. Yay, team. But what are you doing about it? You live in D.C. Did you contact the mayor? Are you willing to go to Congress and say, look, listen here, folks, listen to me. Like, what are you willing? Did you contact Howard University and say, look, I don't know what I can do, but I'm letting you know I'm offering you my support. Are you willing to say, even my voice matters? Like, they don't know me. Doesn't matter. God knows you. And if you are going to do this and recognize from this place of oneness and place of unity, it only takes one person to tipping point, one person. Are we willing to make that change? Are we willing to let go of everything that is not life affirming? Not just about our own lives. Leah's, remember the introduction when I said, I want to read it specifically. Let You In is a collection of songs that the artist hopes will cultivate greater compassion for femininity. Why? Because we are living in a time and a culture where women still are not seen, honored, or respected. And so she feels what's hers to do is introduce music into the consciousness of humanity that says women matter. The divine feminine matters. But all of us should be singing that song. All of us should be singing the song of, no, we can't have sexism on my watch. No, we can't have racism on my watch. No, we can't have Christianism on my watch. No, we can't have Islamophobia or homophobia. Not on my watch. I cannot be a part of a world that says I don't matter. And right now, in this world, in this United States of America, this doesn't matter to the masses. How dare this black gay man, how dare I don't matter? Not on my watch. And the moment when I say no, then what am I saying yes to? I have to say yes because I know what this philosophy has done for me. I know what this teaching has done for me. I know what it can do. I know what is possible. But I cannot do it all by myself. It takes a village. Ubuntu. I am because we are. But if we are not, what did Holmes say? When members of a community love one another, whatever that community is, when members of the community love one another, that community is solid, prosperous, and happy. Your home is your community. Is your home demonstrating this? Your family is a community. Is it demonstrating this? Is your center, which is a community, demonstrating this? Is your country, which is a community, demonstrating this? Is our planet, which is a community, demonstrating this? If it's not, then we have work to do. And part of that work is find that place within ourselves where compassion is not overflowing. Find that place where we are denying compassion a voice. We are denying compassion a song. We are denying compassion the opportunity to dance its dance as us. That's the only way we're going to change the planet. One person at a time. But it starts with us doing the work. Let us pray. Anchoring in this moment, this divine and holy moment, knowing that God, Source, Spirit, the infinite universe is all there is. Yod He Vav He, I am that I am, is all there is. And therefore it must be present right here, moving in, through, and as each and every one. And if this is true, which it is, then that which God is, as divine love and joy and magnificence and possibility, must also exist in this breath, in these hands, in this mind, these eyes, these feet, this back, this being me. And so knowing that all that it is present in this moment, that at any moment this breath connects me to it, and what I know is true for myself is true for everyone in this room, and for everyone that everyone in this room knows, and everyone that they know, and everyone that they see and who see them. This truth is true for all. God is it. Recognizing and realizing that humanity and divinity are not two separate ends of a pole, but that they are infinitely combined as one power and one presence. My humanity is divine, and my divinity is my humanness. One power and one presence. God, the good omnipotence in expression. Knowing this, I allow that which is compassion, divine care, divine nurturing, divine willingness to rise within me as my intention and as my choice to live, move, and have my beingness as one who is compassion in action. Knowing that this is my truth, and knowing that it is the truth, knowing that it is true for all in this room and beyond, I anchor this in gratitude into the law that says yes, always has, always does, and always will. Yes, yes, yes. I surrender it, I release it, I allow it to be, knowing that simply releasing it, simply treating is not enough. And so I surrender it and I allow it, knowing that I treat and move my feet. And so it is.